So, as I emerge from my behind the wheel trance at 75 miles an hour, my worst fears are realized, and I think, oh God. Well, I'd begun this drive a day earlier in Cleveland, a place I never thought I'd be spending so much time. But you see, my dear wife is youngest of 10, and they're all in Cleveland. So it's the late 90s, and we've been there for about 3 weeks, and I am done. Now, don't get the wrong idea. I love my family, but my in-laws. But I got to get back to California to start a new school year. So the plan is that I'm going to drive back, and my wife is going to fly back a couple of weeks later. So I get in the car, and I make it all the way just barely into Nebraska. And I got kind of a late start. So the next day, I am going to make it all the way back to California. That is it, all the way back. And I get up at ridiculous, and I get on the road. Now, there's two things you got to know. One is that stretch of highway is flat and featureless. There is nothing out there except corn. The other thing is that it's literally I-80 all the way home, like door to door. So I get on the road, and I am in the zone. It is interstate vehicular meditation. Totally safe. And I'm cruising along in my own head. And every once in a while, something would distract me. Like I see this house out in the middle of corn, and there's this little garden gnome, and he's got a wry smile and a jaunty outfit, and I think, gnome. And then I'm back in the zone. Interstate vehicular meditation. And days go by, minutes, hours. I have no idea. But then, something else catches my eye. There's this house with this life-size plywood silhouette cutout of a cowboy leaning against a tree. He's got a little handkerchief around his neck, and I think, cowboy. And then I'm back in the zone. I am communing with corn. Driving. And amazingly, this one other thing catches my eye, and it's this electric yellow house. And I think, man, that house is yellow. And I keep driving, interstate vehicular meditation. And eventually, I gotta take a break, so I find an exit, get some food, use the restroom, get some gas, and I am back on the highway in record time. I am gonna make it to California. I know it. And I'm back in the zone. It's Zen and the art of asphalt. I'm going. And then, interestingly, I see another electric yellow house. And I think, man, there must have been a deal on yellow paint. And then I'm back in the zone. I'm in my own head. And I'm driving, hours, days, who knows how long. And I'll be darned if I don't see another one of those life-size plywood silhouette cutouts of a cowboy leaning against a tree. He's got a little handkerchief, and I think, man, those cowboys are really popular here in Nebraska. And then I keep driving, because I'm in the zone. And I'm driving. And then, amazingly, out of the corn, there's this home with a little garden gnome. And he's got this wry smile and this jaunty outfit, and I think, man, that little guy is super similar to the one that I saw this morning, except this morning the one I saw was on the other side of the highway. Okay, now, there's something I forgot to share with you. I said I was headed back to go start a new school year. Teaching geography. I teach geography. And so, at this moment, I am freaking out. I am gripped with panic that I might have gotten on the wrong way, and I might be driving back toward Cleveland. And I'm looking for a sign, I-80 West, and there's no exits, and there's no signage, and there's no Google Maps. And I think, I'm a smart guy. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to science this. And so I start doing some calculations. And I think about, okay, I know my latitude, and I know the date, and I factor in the tilt of the earth and the time of day. I adjust for daylight savings, and I think, I'm driving to California. The sun is going to be right back over my shoulder there. It's not there. If I'm driving back to Cleveland, the sun is going to be right there. It is. I am crushed and demoralized. Oh my God. I find an exit, finally, get myself turned around, and I head back out on Interstate 80, the same stretch for the third time that day. I see that effing little garden gnome, that damn smug cowboy, that stupid yellow house. Eventually, I need to get gas. I get off on an exit. I pull into the same gas station, and I fill up my tank. When all is said and done, I had driven an entire tank of gas to nowhere. 150 miles in the wrong direction and back. This is like crushingly embarrassing and humiliating if you're me. Like, it takes me days to call my wife and tell her. I don't tell anybody else for like a couple years, and eventually I think, well, maybe I'll tell my students. You know, because it's kind of an object lesson in the calculations in the sun. And so they find this hilarious. This is comedy gold for them. But the real value in this story is what I learned. You just gotta own your mistakes. Don't be afraid to laugh at yourself and never take yourself too seriously. Thank you.